Hi, my name is Coco. Welcome to episode 5 of my channel, Venturing Coco. Today, my topic is how did the state of Qin unify China 2,300 years ago, and the role of Taoism and legalism in the process. First, a bit of historical background. 3,000 years ago, there are 1,800 semi-autonomous states in China. Their leaders are kinsmen, all relatives of two leading families. 2,400 years ago, after a series of wars and consolidation, the number of states is down to 7. And the state of Qin, referred to as Qin hereafter, emerges as the winner and unifies all China. So, how does it conquer the entire China? And our question is, what is the strength of the state of Qin that allows it to conquer China? Well, first, Qin has strong military power. And military power depends on economic power. And economic power depends on consumption and investment. In other words, the twin engines of the economy and military prowess are consumption and investment. And I believe Qin has the strongest consumption and investment at that time. So, what has Qin done right? My belief is that Qin follows Coco's Four Noble Truths of economic development. They are full transactional freedom, clear regulatory environment, solid property rights, and good credit rating. These Four Noble Truths are equally important. No one is more important than the other. These 12 simple words are the key to world domination. And as you might have guessed, Coco hijacks the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism for the purpose of this show. Qin also masters Coco's threefold needs of humanity. They are get rich, stay rich, and act rich. That's what people want. Get rich means people want opportunities to make money. Stay rich means people want to keep the money they made. And act rich means people want to be able to use the money as they see fit. And this is the most important element, but always overlooked. And it's pretty obvious that Coco hijacks the threefold training of Buddhism for the purpose of this show. First, full transactional freedom. In Qin, land can be bought and sold by commoners and is no longer owned by aristocrats exclusively. Shangyang, a legalist politician, revolutionized land ownership and made Qin the most prosperous state 2,000 years ago in China. And this is opposite of Confucianism's appeal. In fact, I would go so far as to say that Confucianism is the stumbling block on the way to full transactional freedom. In this passage, Mengzi, or Mencius, says that he hates the wandering strategists who help state leaders with military, diplomatic, and economic strategies. One example of a military wandering strategist is Sun Tzu, the author of Art of War. And the main economic strategy is awarding land to commoners based on their contribution to the state. And the Confucianist ideal is a world regulated by respectful conduct that emanates from everyone's heart and mind. Wandering strategists are strategists who travel from state to state to help leaders strengthen their states. What Shangyang also did was unifying weights and measurements to reduce transaction costs and burning books and publishing laws. Now, I know book burning sounds scary, but wait until you realize the kind of books they burn. In short, I would say Confucianist books are full of restrictions that kill a free market. In this passage from the Book of Rights, in the chapter on royal regulations, we see items banned from the market. They are various kinds of jade, vehicles and clothing that denote one's status, instruments for worshipping ancestors, colorful clothing, gemstones, luxury, everything. Furthermore, it says that the leader of all state leaders can worship his ancestors with 7 temples. Upper level aristocrats 5, lower level aristocrats 3, educated workers 1 temple, and commoners can only worship at home. So how can we not burn these books that suppress consumer spending? And how does a government get sales tax without consumer spending? And how about income tax? And what about employment? How can a nation grow rich under such restrictions? And who will want to make money without the ability to spend it? And how can the economy function with so many restrictions? So, the tyranny of Confucianism must be overthrown. Confucius' contribution to the Chinese civilization is opening educational opportunities to commoners, whereas Shangyang's contribution is opening spending opportunities to the commoners. Next, clear regulatory environment. And written law is the most important instrument in creating a clear regulatory environment. By written law, I mean every word published by the government should be enforceable and enforced. Conversely, what's not published has no force of law. We'll see 2 passages by Han Fei. He is a legalist, a philosopher, and his book is called Han Fei's. He says, laws are the codes and regulations published by the government. Rewards and punishments must be perceived as certainty. in people's minds. Also, laws are those compiled as books, stored in official buildings, and published before the people. Again, this is the opposite of Confucianism. In this passage, Confucius criticizes the publication of legal codes because they are all aristocrats that serve as officers of laws. His concerns are that the commoners would not respect the aristocrats, and the aristocrats would lose their prestige. And the disorder of the society could result in disorder of the state. Another important instrument in creating a clear regulatory environment is reasonable demands. Legalists earn the bad name of controlling the society with rewards and punishments. But most readers omit the fact that they want to control the society with rewards that could be earned by ordinary people and punishments that could be avoided by ordinary people. For example, in this passage, Han Fei says that wise rulers create achievable rewards and codify avoidable punishments. Another important feature is overthrow the tyranny of the ancients. By tyranny of the ancients, I mean outdated ideals of the rulers. Han Fei tells us a fable that's popular to this day. He says that a tree stands in the field in a state of song. A rabbit sprints and smashes its head against the tree, breaks its neck, and then dies. The farmer of that field then lays down his hoe and waits for the next rabbit to smash itself against that tree. He never gets another rabbit and becomes the laughingstock in song. And the moral of this fable is that the wise man does not expect to follow past examples or establish routines. And those who want to govern today's world with policies of a bygone era are as stupid as that farmer waiting by the tree. And this is very obvious Taoist influence. Like Sun Tzu says, armed forces do not have a consonant formation, and water does not have a consonant form. This is a dynamic worldview, like the design of a fighter aircraft, as opposed to the design of a passenger aircraft. Interestingly, Thomas Jefferson says something very similar in his letter to James Madison. He says, on similar grounds, it may be proved that no society can make a perpetual constitution or even a perpetual law. The earth belongs always to the living generation. And every constitution then and every law naturally expires at the end of 19 years. If it be enforced longer, it is an act of force and not of right. I can only say that great minds think alike. And it's also interesting to see the 19-year duration because the Jewish and Chinese calendars both run on 19-year cycles. What a coincidence. Next, solid property right. Han Fei says, when the greedy ruler steals the almost exhausted property of the people would respond with, "We have none." When the people have no property, they disregard laws. Laws are the foundation of the state. Once they are disregarded, policies cannot be executed, and goals cannot be achieved. Next, good credit rating. There's a popular story in Chinese history about how Shangyang built the credit of the Qin government. When Shangyang begins his reform, nobody believes him. He then sets up a wooden pole of about 3 zhang, or 5 meters tall, at the south gate and announces that whoever moves this pole to the north gate earns 10 units of gold. The people suspect this offer as it sounds too easy. He then raises the reward to 50 units of gold. Someone actually moves it and earns the reward immediately. And thereafter, his reforms prevail all over the state. And this is how a government should build its credit rating. And I believe legalism is aligned with humanity. The threefold needs of humanity are get rich, stay rich, and act rich. And act rich is the most important of the three because consumer spending leads investment. Legalism addresses the most fundamental needs of human nature, and that's why it succeeds in the state of Qin. Conclusion. Follow the course of nature is the basic tenet of Taoism. Legalism follows the course of human nature, which is to get rich, to win. 2,300 years ago in China, everybody has a Qin dream, that is, to get rich, to stay rich, and to act rich. And look at the world today. Which developed nation violates Coco's Four Noble Truths of economic development? And I believe the book of Han Feizi is a summary of facts rather than an exposition of theory. By his time, the state of Qin has practiced legalism for a long time and unified China just 12 years after his death. He's talking about experience rather than imagination. I believe many of his ideas have been practiced. And in the next episode, I will tell you how the Qin dynasty collapses and how Zhuangzi, the butterfly dreamer, kills the first emperor of Qin dynasty with just 6 Chinese words. I hope you get to watch my TV show one day. Thank you, and see you next time.